Breaking news. Trump says Iran ditching nukes. The Israel-Lebanon ceasefire begins today, and central bankers fear AI. Greetings, humanity. Today is Friday, April 17th, 2026. Let's Grok the News. I'm Robert Gardner, using Grok each weekday to summarize the news of the world. You also get my opinions. Let's Grok the most important news, starting with our lead story, Dateline, Washington, and Beirut. A fragile 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has taken effect, as President Trump says the United States is also very close to a deal with Iran that could end its nuclear ambitions and ease tensions over the Strait of Hormuz blockade. The truce, announced by Trump, aims to pause fighting involving Hezbollah and opens a potential window for broader talks. Displaced Lebanese civilians have begun returning to southern areas, although many remain wary about whether the pause will hold. In Iran, reports highlight significant civilian destruction from the recent conflict, with residents expressing uncertainty about the future. Trump stated that Iran has totally agreed to give up its nuclear program and that a deal is very close, adding that he would even travel to Pakistan himself if needed to seal it. Israeli officials, including the UN ambassador, have emphasized that their forces remain the only ones capable of fully dismantling Hezbollah, noting the Lebanese government lacks full control over its territory. Markets are shifting focus from the war toward corporate earnings, while concerns linger over potential energy disruptions, including impacts on global jet fuel supplies and shipping through key waterways. The ceasefire removes one immediate obstacle, but leaves larger questions about Hezbollah's future and Iran's nuclear activities unresolved. Trump has described the overall situation as progressing positively, though analysts caution that the truce is temporary and fragile. It's what analysts do. This development comes amid ongoing diplomatic maneuvering, with the U.S. maintaining a strong naval presence to enforce the blockade while pushing for negotiations. International observers are watching closely to see if the pause leads to lasting stability or simply a brief breathing room in a volatile region. We briefly review a roundup of the most critical reports in the world right after this. M.S. Gardner, my beautiful and brilliant wife, is author of last year's Moon Meridian Prize winner from April Gloaming Publishing, Wolf's Bane, a dark, serious, modern take on an old fairy tale. You've never heard Little Red Riding Hood told like this. It's a page-turning Southern Gothic story for adults that you can't put down. It might not put you down either. Wolf's Bane, available now at thecuriousauthor.com. All one word, thecuriousauthor.com, and also available on Amazon. Now we grok the headlines from around planet Earth. Dateline, United States. American singer and rapper David, spelled with the number 4, David Burke, was arrested on suspicion of murdering a missing 14-year-old teenage girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose gruesome remains were discovered inside his Tesla vehicle. Authorities are continuing their investigation into the circumstances surrounding the high-profile case that has drawn widespread public attention. A global dateline here. Finance ministers and senior bankers from some major economies, meaning Europe, have voiced serious concerns that the advanced Claude Mythos AI model from Anthropic could be too dangerous to release publicly, warning of severe risks to financial stability, security, and broader society if safeguards prove inadequate. This observer tends to take news generated by central bankers with a grain of salt. But financial hacking and other hacking has become much easier with today's powerful AI. The Pentagon rejected Anthropic as a vendor. The age of the robot is just beginning, folks. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas delivered a strong warning that progressivism and the principles of the Declaration of Independence cannot coexist forever, arguing the two ideologies are fundamentally incompatible over the long term. You say progressive, I say Marxist. And by any other name, yes, forced collectivism is a government evil that must be restricted as much as humanly possible if a human nation is to remain independent and free. I'm afraid we're going to see what the robots have to say about it. Dateline, Washington, D.C. President Trump has nominated Coast Guard Rear Admiral, his former Assistant Surgeon General, Dr. Erica Schwartz, to serve as the next director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, placing a new leader at the helm of the nation's top public health agency amid ongoing debates over health policy. Dateline, the United States. An ATF report examining ammunition used in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has been described as devastating to various conspiracy theories circulating online, while the accused suspect has filed motions to ban cameras from his upcoming court proceedings. Maybe that gaggle of anti-MAGA grifters will simmer down now? Don't expect it. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Actual conservative commentator Brian Marlow called for strong resistance against what he described as a GOP establishment and donor-class push to advance the Dignidad Act, an amnesty-focused immigration bill that he warned would undermine border security efforts. This observer has long said that with Republicans like these, who needs Democrats? Dateline, Washington, D.C. A federal judge, yet another one with constitutional delusions of chief executive authority, has issued mixed rulings on the proposed above-ground construction of a new ballroom at the White House, allowing certain security-related work to continue while his order halts other aspects of the controversial project. Controversial only because Donald Trump started it. This observer would tell that judge to enforce his own ruling. It is long past time for another co-equal branch of the federal government, namely Congress, to impeach these overstepping usurpers in black robes. Dateline, Australia. Australia's most decorated living soldier, war hero Ben Roberts-Smith, was released on bail after facing war crime charges related to his service in Afghanistan, a nasty, brutal conflict. The long-running legal case continues to draw significant national attention. You know, if Australia actually wants to destroy the morale of its crumbling military, then charging her soldiers with crimes for being soldiers is about the fastest way to do it. Dateline, South Africa. Prominent South African opposition politician Julius Malema, he is a black man, in case you're wondering. Well, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison after his conviction for firing a gun into the air during an anniversary celebration of his political party. Well, he didn't fire it at anybody, although firing rifles into the air is not a smart move. This development could reshape opposition politics in yet another country that uses the power of government to squash political opposition any way they can. Dateline Australia. Britain's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle met with survivors of the deadly Bondi Beach shootings during the final day of their visit to Australia, offering personal condolences and support to those affected by the tragedy. Just what they were waiting for, I'm sure. This Observer includes this story on a slow news day. It is not my actual opinion that the continued clout-chasing, celebrity grifting of this ungrateful, toxic couple is news any longer. Dateline South Korea. Authorities in South Korea finally captured a runaway wolf after an intense 9-day search operation that captivated the public and highlighted challenges around the world in managing urban wildlife encounters. Our growing urban is going to encounter more wildlife as we push out into the wild. Dateline Turkey. A new series of school shootings has introduced a new form of national trauma in Turkey as the country mourns victims and grapples with the psychological impact of gun violence striking educational institutions. The shooter, a fellow 14-year-old student, was killed at the scene. Dateline India. Widespread factory protests across India have laid bare deep strains within the country's industrial system, with workers voicing frustration over heavy workloads, low welfare standards, and difficult living conditions. This could actually get worse for working India before it gets better. And Dateline Washington, D.C. New U.S. jobless claims data that was released this week far exceeded economists' expectations, or perhaps exceeded their dismal wishes. They are no friends or fans of Donald Trump, I'll tell you that. The news delivers fresh evidence of a resilient American labor market. The U.S. economy continues to show strength, despite lingering concerns by the professionally concerned over economic uncertainty and global tensions. Well, good news, says this Observer, and I thank you for listening. Please join me Monday to once again Grok the News. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.